Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel, Grotesquerie, the latest series being released by FX, just like the other series that they've released year after year after year, American Horror Story, shows us more truth in plain sight. And I want to thank a subscriber over on the website for sharing this with me, the subscriber by the name of 1,000 Unfamiliars, who shared this in the forum, and everybody over there is sharing a lot of great information, even things like this that I won't normally see and be able to break down. And I'm not breaking this down because it's just some horror movie. I don't look at every single horror movie that's out there and say, hey, I could do a video on this because it looks satanic and it looks demonic. I'm breaking it down because of the people involved in the show, as well as the imagery and the symbols that we see. And this constant repetition of showing us eyeballs and goats, and then tying in themes of anti-Christianity along with occult killings, because it's becoming more and more common. Yet people think that, well, they're just making an artistic show, so people tune in and watch. Meanwhile, these shows barely even get decent ratings. They don't make these shows to make money. They don't make these shows to get ratings. They make these shows to condition you and desensitize you to things that are actually happening in the occult. Now, I've talked about this with a lot of the true crime shows and how they've normalized this and made it so popular. It's not just because they're trying to get CCTV cameras out there, like I've mentioned. It's also because this is a form of mind control. You may have noticed that over the last 5 years or so, that more and more crimes are being committed. And it's not just because you're being told that they're being committed, but a lot of crimes are being committed that you would have heard decades ago, which would have been rarities, like decapitating people, sawing people up, and taking their remains and grinding the bones and burying the bodies. This is all stuff that people don't even realize that they're being trained into doing, right? We see some of these crime stories about a husband or a wife that kills the other one, and they just casually are decapitating them. Where in the past, you would think to yourself, wow, this guy's a real psychopath, a real insane person to even think of those things. Now people are doing it whenever they commit second-degree murder or some type of heinous act where in the heat of the moment they commit a murder and it's not even premeditated. They're already trained to go out there and dispose of the bodies, right? This is all how mind control works. They don't even realize it's being done on them. So what I'm getting at with shows like this, they show you all of this stuff and they show you these jump cuts of Satan and Baphomet and eyeballs and all of this stuff because they're conditioning you. You're under a form of hypnosis and they're revealing the truth right in front of you and then telling you that it's fiction and you shouldn't be even thinking that this happens in real life. In fact, if you think that this is happening in real life, we should silence you because it's so dangerous to think that people would be actually committing these crimes in real life would be somehow connected to the occult, when in fact they all are. So let me show you some of the stuff and I will play the trailer for you in a few moments. But let's look at the obvious, right? The trailer starts off where they're showing you the telephone poles and you can see how they're all lit up to be crucifixes, right? So you immediately know that this is going to have some type of theme of God and the devil. And of course, it does, even though all these people who produce all of these TV shows and all of these movies constantly tell us that they believe in atheism, that God isn't real, that the devil's not real, yet we're constantly surrounded by this. We can see that we're in a spiritual war. Just people continually think that all this stuff going on is to entertain them. It is not to entertain them. And surprise, surprise, one of the people acting in this series, I don't know if he's the main star or he's just in it, but one of the actors in it is Travis Kelce. Now, I'm covering this for multiple reasons, including Travis Kelce, because we've all talked about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, right? Taylor Swift is a member of the club. We've seen Taylor Swift do the all-seeing eye symbolism, the 666 symbolism. We could obviously see her role in social engineering the youth out there, right? She plays this cookie cutter character portrayed as a Christian, then telling everybody out there that love wins and what we need to accept as Christians, we need to be nice and accept the LGBT. This is all done by design, right? Taylor Swift is one of them. So is Travis Kelce, and their relationship, which I've exposed many times on the website, their relationship is completely manufactured. They put them together for a reason. Now, interestingly enough, as this trailer just comes out, trending on Twitter at the same time was new bodysuit. And I said, what is this stuff that's trending? Heather Locklear, and if you look, Heather Locklear doesn't look too good these days. And you see Sydney's, and it's like, what is new bodysuit? You click on new bodysuit, and everybody is having a stroke over Taylor Swift's newest outfit, apparently, at one of her concerts, or his concerts, right? And no, they're not having a stroke because they found Captain Winky. They're having a stroke because they're idol worshiping Taylor Swift. If you haven't noticed, that's what's happening around the world right now, right? And I wanted to point that out because the theme of this video has to do with the Baphomet and goat worship. And if you notice, trending is this outfit that Taylor Swift is wearing. And if you look close enough, you could see that it's upside down pentagrams and a crescent moon that they're all drooling over. They can't even see the symbolism in front of them, right? You can see clearly the crescent moon and the upside down pentagrams and all the pentagrams all over the outfit that Taylor Swift is wearing. And again, that is associated with Baphomet. As above, so below, the duality. And you can see on Baphomet the crescent moons with his hand pointed up and his hand pointed down. And you could see the pentagram, which is what a star is, directly on Baphomet's forehead. That's one of the reasons you always see the moon with the stars. They tell you that this is what a star looks like. This five-pointed star has nothing to do with a star, so to speak, in the sky, okay? Now, back to Travis Kelce. Of course, Travis Kelce, who was put in this arranged relationship for one reason, and that was to push the magic potion once again onto the masses, to influence young male teenagers out there to go and get it. They make Travis Kelce to look like he's cool, he's a football player. There's a demographic out there that clearly didn't go and get the magic potion, so they said we need to put stuff out there and propaganda out there to influence them. And they chose Travis Kelce to do that, and they teamed him up with Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce has blood on his hands, as do most of these people who are pushing this onto innocent people. So if we take a quick look at Travis before we get into the trailer, you'll see him doing the 666 sign, holding up. This is all strategically done, right? They didn't say, hey, we want you to promote, this hair product. Here it is. Hold on to it and say cheese, right? His hands are doing the 666 sign. For those of you that don't know, it's one of the most obvious ones. It's the MAGA symbol. It's what we know as the AOK sign. It is a 666 because, of course, as you see, when the thumb is pressed together with the index finger, the three other fingers represent 6, right? 3 sixes put together. And he's doing it with both hands. He, of course, always is throwing up. Anytime there's a photo op of Travis Kelce, he decides to throw up devil horns. Now, does anybody out there ever question why these people throw it up? Right? We see rock and rollers get away with it, and they go, well, it's because Kiss is into rock and roll. So apparently it's associated with rock and roll, right? Then we're told the sign language symbol for this is love, right? You see where this is going with this demonic symbol meaning love? Love wins. The Antichrist coming in the name of love, right? But nobody asked Travis Kelce why he's always throwing it up. Did he go to Texas University, home of the Longhorns? No, he didn't. He went to a school in Cincinnati, I believe Cincinnati University, right? So he's always throwing up the devil horns. And obviously, if you're dating Taylor Swift, you're in the club, okay? They don't date outside of these secret societies, these bloodlines. They just don't. That's why most celebrities end up dating other celebrities. They're all related to each other. They're part of a bloodline. You're not in it, but they want you to think these things happen organically. Now, let me get to this trailer, okay? Watch out for the main star of the show. And no, it's not Travis Kelce, surprise, surprise. The main star of the show, of course, or at least in this trailer, is Baphomet. That's right, Baphomet. Take a look at how many times you see Baph pop up.
I don't know how it started. Like a hole opened up in the world to the center of nothingness.
This killer is sermonizing, proselytizing. To understand this monster, we have to decipher these murders.
Something is happening around us. Nobody sees.
Wow. I never thought I'd live to see the day where Baphomet would be such a big star. I mean, he's appearing all over the place. They really seem obsessed with the goat. And of course, we have goat yoga, calling people the goat. This is how they've normalized the goat over and over and over again. I've been talking about it for about 8 years on this platform. And when I first started talking about it, people were telling me that I'm completely insane for saying things like this about the GOAT. And since then, all we've seen is the GOAT become more and more normalized. At that time, 8 years ago, the acronym, saying greatest of all time and calling people the GOAT didn't even exist. I was talking about GOAT yoga, showing you all these celebrities holding up goats in strategic magazine shoots and Instagram posts where you see a celebrity always around a goat. Then you go, what do they have, a goat farm? And they don't even have a goat farm. but they just take the picture and you're supposed to think it's some innocent picture. It's showing their allegiance to the occult. And again, the goat is all over the place. So let's take a look at some of the stuff in the trailer, and I'll even show you all the Baphomet clips in a 2-minute trailer that occurred. They show you this town. Of course, the town, the way it's lit up, looks like a crucifix. And if you look closely at the whiteboards that they were showing, which is another thing they like to do, they love to show these whiteboards to make it, for conspiracy theorists, like, look, they're connecting all this stuff. And it's actually a real easy thing to break down if you have all these things on a whiteboard. Let's just say hypothetically 5G, you have on a whiteboard, you have the magic potion on a whiteboard, right? You got the Baphomet on a whiteboard. Well, really, all the strings would point to one place, and it's a place all the way overseas where they eat bagels all the time, or at least they proudly produce bagels for all of us. But anyway, on the whiteboard, you will see mass cult death. So they tell you the theme of the show, right? Cult murders. Again, right? They constantly tell us this stuff, but they never break it down. People just feel drawn into a lot of these shows that depict the, satanic cults and covens performing ritual sacrifice. And like, I can't wait to watch it. They feel drawn in because their soul's getting drawn in because there's so much truth in these shows. And they think they're getting drawn in because they want to be entertained. And then they end up leaving the show entertained without actually realizing that that's what's going on around them. That's what's going on. I mean, there's shows like True Detective where they show you the same plot, right? Child sacrifice, these circles going around, goat worship, antlers, all the stuff that I broke down in that video, which is also available on the website. So if you didn't notice, again, let me just show you some of the clips of Baphomet here. We saw Baphomet in a puzzle, right? I mean, puzzle solved, right? There's Baphomet. We saw Baphomet on the wall, goat head up on the wall. They just did jump cuts. And if you're not familiar with what jump cuts are, again, that's another video on the website they removed from here where I break down jump cuts. It's important to know what jump cuts are because they're cuts that you can only see if you break down the frames. If you take a video, for example, and you slow it down, all those things, they flash at you. It has subliminally, your brain processes that, but you may not realize it. So you might be watching something and all these things flash kind of like what you saw in that trailer, and you would never notice what's even flashing, but they're actually programming you via jump cut. And it's a very sadistic tactic that they've used for a long time. So there's Baphomet. He popped up all over. And of course, who else popped up? Well, Satan popped up, right? They showed us Satan quite a few times, right? Right in front of our faces with his horns. And right after they show you Satan, they've got to show you something else, right? An eyeball, right? I mean, there's just an obsession with eyeballs, is there not? Now, is a qualification to make it in Hollywood, to make millions of dollars producing films, to flop out of optometry school? I mean, I'm not even cracking a joke about optometry. I mean, what else would you call this fetish for eyeballs? I've heard that there's people out there who strangely have a fetish for people's feet, which is creepy enough, but clearly the people in Hollywood have a fetish for people's eyeballs, right? I mean, they just seem overly obsessed with eyeballs. So we saw an eyeball, then we saw another eyeball. We could clearly see a demonic demon's eyeball and jumping to a human being's eyeball, and then it just makes you wonder, right? What's with all this eyeball stuff? I mean, do they worship the dollar bill? I mean, I know they're all greedy, but even a dollar bill, right? Why a dollar? Why not $100 bill, right? Because we all know the all-seeing eye is right on the back of the dollar bill, if you haven't noticed. And why is it that maybe the trailer, Lucifer, showing that he actually worships all these celebrities? Maybe it's not the other way around, right? Because if we have Lucifer tied in with the eyeball, do you think maybe Lucifer saw every single celebrity out there holding up a hand over their eye to represent one eye, the eye of Providence, the eye of Lucifer? So maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Lucifer's just a big fan of Hollywood. Or is it that everybody in Hollywood worships Lucifer, right? Because that's really what it is. I mean, come on. And the eyeball is a symbol that they use, right? Because remember, oneness, one eye, one religion, one language, one currency, etc. So you see all the celebrities doing. I mean, of course, maybe Lucifer's just a Justin Bieber fan, right? Here's another guy who portrays himself as a Christian. He's got an eyeball tattooed right on his arm. I mean, nothing to be suspicious about, right? I mean, if you were to go get a tattoo, right? If you were going to go do a bloodletting ritual and get a tattoo, I mean, what would you think to yourself? You'd be like, well, should I get my kid's name or, and I don't condone getting tattoos. I'm using it as an example, hypothetically, right? Why is it that he's got an eyeball on his arm? I mean, does he have some type of connection with eyes? I don't know, right? Or how about Kesha, for example? Kesha, who continues to have her MK or his MK Ultra breakdowns out in society almost every single year, right? Has that tattooed right in the palm of her hand, even holds it up at concerts over one of her eyes. I mean, you seeing the pattern yet? Or even let's take the newest truther, the newest man/woman to be baptized, right? Of course, showing you the baptism. I covered this many times, right? He's got it tattooed right on his arm too, but he's changed his ways, of course. He's changed his ways. Who are we to judge any of these people, right? We shouldn't look at their fruits and then try to warn Christians about being deceived by these people. We're supposed to just accept all these eye lovers, right? I guess that's what it's really about. So back to the show. We also clearly see the pits of hell being depicted, where we could see people in a circle around the pits of hell, likely doing a ritual. This is just a trailer, but I'm sure when the show comes out, you'll see some type of portal being opened. I'm sure there'll be a portal theme with this, because the town, they show you this town that's doing occult rituals, are probably doing these rituals to open up some type of a portal, because that's what really occurs, right? So you can see what they would depict in this as the pits of hell, of course, a circle of people. And then you get this, maybe the most interesting thing in the entire trailer. Of course, they have to show us Jesus, because that's the truth for you in plain sight. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And they show us this crucifix on the wall, and you would think that that's blood coming down off of the crucifix, but it's actually not. It's black goo. That's right, black goo. Have you noticed the pattern of black goo? Have you noticed all the celebrities who roll around in black goo, from Billie Eilish having black goo dripping out of its eyes, or movies like Venom that depict this transformation revolving around black goo? If you haven't paid attention yet, it actually goes all the way back to Travis Kelce. There's your connection right there. Because Travis Kelce, who's the star, or one of the actors, who's even not even an actor, so they clearly put him in here because of this. In this, right, he's now known for two things. He's known for being a football player who dates Taylor Swift, and I should say three things, who also is pushing onto society a magic potion at a time that we're not even supposed to be afraid of an outbreak. And if you understand how it works, inside that potion, there's a certain substance that resembles black goo. And it's part of the transformation process of taking human beings' genetic code and transforming them, changing their genes. So it's amazing to me that they depict the black goo coming off Jesus, coming off the cross, as if they aren't mocking us enough already. And they're showing the transformation of man. And when the show comes out, I probably will take a look at this to see, with the portals that they're showing, with Baphomet, with Lucifer, with black goo coming off of the cross, exactly how the show ties all that stuff together. So not a coincidence that there's black goo. We even see a lot of the duality they try to show with the nun, the theme of the nun in the show, which is very common as well. In a lot of these horror films now, using nuns, they use the nun with the white and the white doves, and of course then they use a nun dressed in black, and the doves turn into crows. So this is a show, again, this isn't out there to entertain you. I could obviously, if I was going to say, hey, I'm going to have a channel and every single thing I do is going to be about Satan, well, I could cover every single topic every single day, because pretty much everything in our culture now revolves around Satanism. But when you see signs and symbols, you need to start connecting the dots. That's why you have to watch this stuff and have your brain trained to be turned on. You can't be lulled to sleep and watch this stuff, because you're getting programmed. You're actually getting desensitized. They're constantly showing you this one-eye symbolism. Have you ever heard any of these people, the alt-right, anybody talk about it and what it means? And anybody ask the question of why it's on the dollar bill? Has anybody asked the question? No, they don't. They don't. They just go, well, you know, because usually it's a jump cut, and usually they don't expect you to see it over and over and over again. They don't expect you to see every celebrity in a photo shoot holding a hand up over the eye and then have it all connected so that you can go, wait a minute, what are they all doing? They're all playing peekaboo and they go and get these pictures taken? Oh, the guy who's taking the pictures is just a big jokester, right? Right? The guy who's taking the pictures, you know, if you really want to start connecting the dots and these people involved in a lot of the stuff where kids go missing, look at a lot of the photographers, okay? Because a lot of the photographers are in those positions because they actually take those other pictures that these people cherish so much that you'll never see, that are tucked away somewhere, but they take photos of this stuff. They photograph their acts. And these people, we're told, are photographers for GQ and all these magazines. People like Terry Richardson, who you could just look at and you know what's in his soul, posing with Miley Virus and Jared Leto. And you go, how did he press the button better than anyone else? Is that why he's a famous photographer? Well, nobody asks how they get the jobs. They just go, oh yeah, you know, he went to this school. Oh, okay. So he's able to take pictures for GQ, right? Well, they're in those positions because the real pictures they take are the ones that you don't see in the magazines. Those are the people involved in it, and they're famous and they're rich because of the stuff they do behind the scenes. But apparently there's just a fetish for eyeballs. There's a fetish for black goo. There's obviously an obsession with Baphomet, but don't notice that. I guess the show is really just about the greatest of all time, right? They keep showing you a GOAT in the show because all the buildup is going to end in a debate over who the greatest tight end is in NFL history, right? Is that what it's about? Travis Kelce's in it? Because at the end, they're going to say, look, Travis Kelce's wearing the GOAT head. He's going to take it off. He's going to go, I'm the greatest tight end of all time, right? I mean, Elton John might disagree, but I guess he's more of a loose end, but you catch my drift. I mean, the fact that this stuff is in front of us and people don't see it and they laugh it all off and dismiss like, oh, that's not what it means. The GOAT doesn't mean that. You don't understand what the GOAT means because they've been programmed on purpose into believing it means one thing so they can normalize occult symbols and occult practices around us. So the newest show, I thought at first it was called Grotesque, which it should be called because it's so grotesque, but it's called Grotesquerie or Grotesquerie. See what I did there? I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.